That shouldn't surprise any of us. But they went in there and absolutely obliterated the Connecticut Sun tonight. Caitlin Clark, big-time double-double. And before the game, Sophie Cunningham was asked about her comments that she made where she stood up for women.
In the unpredictable world of professional sports, there are certain unwritten rules of survival that you simply do not cross. You do not wake a sleeping giant. You do not give a generational, once-in-a-lifetime talent any extra motivation. And above all else, you absolutely never ever lay a dirty, unnecessary hit on a superstar's most loyal teammate. But apparently the Connecticut Sun completely missed that memo. What unfolded on the hardwood tonight between the Indiana Fever and the Sun was not just a regular season basketball game. It was a brutal, cold-blooded, and systematic execution. It was an absolute massacre that will be analyzed in film rooms and talked about by fans for decades to come. It started with a historic global celebration that shook the sports media landscape to its very core, and it ended in an absolute televised nightmare for Connecticut. Tonight proved one terrifying, undeniable reality to the rest of the WNBA. If you lay a single finger on Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark will personally ensure that your entire franchise pays the ultimate humiliating price. To truly understand the sheer magnitude of the destruction that happened on this court, and the intense psychological warfare that dictated the pace of this game, we have to rewind the clock. We have to look at the unprecedented, fever-pitch pre-game atmosphere. The arena was not just loud, it was vibrating with a nuclear-level energy. Why? Because mere hours before tip-off, a massive, history-shattering announcement broke across every major sports network on the planet.
Not that you did a great job coaching, that you did a great job of getting the hell out of Caitlin Clark's way today. When the GOAT has the ball in her hands, there's nothing anybody can do. This was a masterclass. This is why she is the best show in the business. Must-see television. Caitlin Clark put on an absolute dominant performance versus the Connecticut Sun. 27 points, 11 assists in just 27 minutes. Indiana Fever beat the absolute dog crap, beat the brakes off the Connecticut Sun, 123-88.
Clark was officially named the exclusive global cover athlete for the upcoming NBA 2K27 Deluxe Edition. Let that monumental fact sink in for a second. We are not talking about a regional variant, a digital-only promo, or a special alternate cover tucked away in the store. We are talking about the very first WNBA player in the history of the universe to take over the flagship gaming franchise on a massive, undisputed global scale. This was not just an endorsement deal. This was a coronation. Clark walked onto the hardwood that night already cemented as a living legend, carrying the weight of the entire league's financial and cultural future squarely on her shoulders. The Indiana Fever locker room was riding an emotional high that you usually only see in championship-clinching moments. The vibes were absolutely flawless. The crowd was electric, holding up custom signs and wearing exclusive merchandise. The team was ready to celebrate their franchise player's historic milestone with a spectacular, highlight-heavy statement victory. But the Connecticut Sun made a fatal, arrogant miscalculation. The Sun walked into that arena completely disgusted by the media circus surrounding Indiana. They didn't want to be a footnote in Caitlin Clark's historic night. They didn't want to be the background extras in a 2K sports commercial. They wanted to be the villains. They wanted to crash the parade, ruin the celebration, and drag the Fever down into a gritty, ugly, physical mud fight. They mistook Indiana's pre-game joy for softness. And that was the absolute biggest mistake they could have.
For NBA 2K27 Deluxe Edition. She's obsessed with the work. Pre-order NBA 2K27 now. I've taken a break from 2K. I haven't played 2K in the last 6 years. I'm not going to play. It's the same game, repackaged over and over again. But Caitlin Clark on the cover. Love to see it. Caitlin Clark on the cover. Absolutely loved it. This should have happened year one. This should have happened year two. But you know what? They're not just going to throw her on the WNBA edition like Angel Reese and Asia Wilson. She's not going to get a participation trophy like those two. Oh, yeah, here you go, WNBA edition. Oh, really? For me? Nah, Cece, don't worry, Caitlin. Don't worry. In 25,
entirely desperate to rattle the newly minted 2K cover star, decided to abandon traditional basketball strategy and resort to playing incredibly dirty. They knew, deep down in their defensive scouting reports, that they couldn't actually stop Clark's perimeter shooting. They knew they didn't have the defensive rotations to keep up with her elite playmaking. So, they tried to break her team's spirit instead. They targeted the heart, the soul, and the gritty enforcer of the Fever's toughness, Sophie Cunningham. Enter Anissa Morrow. In a highly physical, dangerously reckless, and completely unnecessary sequence that had thousands of fans immediately screaming at their televisions, Morrow took down Cunningham. This wasn't a standard basketball play. This wasn't two fierce competitors fighting for a loose ball or jockeying for rebounding position under the rim. This was a calculated statement foul. A play that violently crossed the line from hard-nosed, old-school defense into straight-up, unapologetic disrespect.
She's been getting praise from anybody with half a brain cell today. No doubt about it. Now, right here, double technicals for Sanaya Rivers and Caitlin Clark, who exchanged words after a Connecticut foul. That's 7 technicals for Caitlin Clark. One more, and she will be suspended. I hope they rescind this one because I thought it was complete bullshit. You see that score, 123-88. The Indiana Fever set a record for points in the first half of a game with 70 tonight. Wow. Yeah, and Caitlin Clark started this game fast. She never really took her foot off the pedal at all. And I got to tell you, if teammates could have made some shots, she might have had 16, 17, 18 assists tonight. There were a lot of shots missed on passes that she made directly to her.
The sickening sound of the impact echoed all the way up to the broadcast booth. For a split second, the entire arena fell dead, terrifyingly silent. The oxygen was sucked right out of the building as medical staff leaned forward on the bench. Connecticut thought they had done it. They truly believed they had successfully sent an intimidating message that would rattle the Fever's confidence and throw them off their rhythm. But they forgot exactly who they were dealing with. Sophie Cunningham is not built like a regular basketball player. She is an absolute uncompromising warrior. Instead of staying down on the floor, instead of looking over to the trainers for help, Cunningham picked herself right back up, refusing to back down even a single millimeter. She got right back into the mix, making it crystal clear that the Indiana Fever cannot be bullied, pushed around, or intimidated by
playing in the CC style. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are an unguardable backcourt. Kelsey Mitchell's passing the ball. The girl shoots at an efficient clip. Aaliyah Boston had 20 points, 20 minutes. I mean, damn, they beat the hell out the Connecticut Sun. Let's get a look at these GOAT highlights, please. Please. Let's get into these GOAT highlights, man. They can't stop CC.
Look, people don't...
Let's take a look at these highlights, man. Caitlin Clark put on a show, loading up threes. First play of the game. Bang! Baghdad! First play of the game. Y'all can't stop her. Snatch back. Pull up from the parking lot. Pulled up from the parking lot where it's $50 to park at. Getting into the lane. And one. You can't stop her. They ain't even call it. Reverse is too easy for Caitlin Clark. She's unguardable. Another three. Baghdad. They can't stop her. She's pulling up. She's pulling up from Hawkeye Arena. What a pass to Aaliyah Boston, man. Caitlin Clark can't be stopped. If you think there's anybody as good as in basketball as Caitlin Clark, you're either drunk, on drugs, you're delusional, you need to check into a mental ward, something is wrong. Pump fake, step back, cash. This girl's unguardable, man. The girl's unguardable. She hit, 5 threes in the first half, coming off. Look at that pad. Bounce pass to Aaliyah Boston and one. The best pick and roll.
Real impending danger wasn't coming from Cunningham. As the referees scrambled to blow their whistles and control the rapidly escalating situation, the national broadcast cameras slowly panned over to catch Caitlin Clark's reaction. The bright, glowing, highly marketable smile from the 2K27 cover announcement was entirely gone. The joy of the pre-game celebration had vanished into thin air. In its place was a look of pure, unadulterated, ice-cold fury. Her eyes were completely locked in. She didn't scream at the referees. She didn't wave her arms around or throw a frustrated tantrum. She just stared dead ahead at the Connecticut bench. Connecticut didn't know it yet, but in that exact, precise microsecond, they had just signed their own permanent death warrant. What happened next will be studied in professional film rooms for years as the ultimate definitive masterclass in basketball vengeance. Clark flipped a psychological switch, entering an absolute terrifying state of God mode that the WNBA has rarely seen in its entire history. The Indiana Fever didn't just run a standard basketball offense anymore. They launched a highly coordinated, tactical offensive airstrike. Clark started pulling up from distances that completely defied human logic, raining down logo three-pointers with the kind of ruthless, mechanical efficiency that fundamentally breaks a defender's soul and shatters their will to compete. Every single time the Sun tried to adjust their coverage, every time they tried to aggressively trap her on the pick and roll or send a desperate double team, she made them look completely and utterly foolish. She fired off laser precision, behind the back, and no-look passes, dissecting their defensive rotations like a master surgeon performing a flawless operation. The game turned into a high-speed track meet, and Caitlin Clark was the only one holding the stopwatch. She was manipulating the entire floor, treating the highly paid Connecticut defenders like stationary practice cones in a high school gym. You could actually see the sheer, undeniable panic setting in on the faces of the Sun players. They were gassed. They were completely overwhelmed. Their body language was entirely broken. They were trapped in a nightmare of their own making, and the architect of their complete destruction was a superstar who refused to show them even a single ounce.
On the Standard Edition, and former NBA MVP Derrick Rose, who was featured on the Ultra Edition, honoring his legendary career. The moment shows off another significant achievement for Clark, who has become one of the biggest faces in basketball since entering the WNBA. Caitlin Clark calls NBA 2K27 cover pretty surreal. Speaking with Bleacher Report after the announcement, Clark admitted receiving the cover honor was something she never imagined as a child. Quote, "It's pretty cool and pretty surreal," Clark said. "As a kid growing up, you're always watching to see who's going to be on the next cover of 2K. She also emphasized what the recognition means for women's basketball. Quote, "I think it's cool to see where the women's game is at this point too. People are getting excited about what the women's game can bring." Clark said she hopes seeing a WNBA player featured prominently in one of the world's most popular sports video games inspires the next generation of young athletes. Quote, "Hopefully young kids love it, and hopefully it can show a lot of young girls too about what they can achieve one day." The Fever guard also reflected on sharing the spotlight with Rose and Wembanyama, calling it an honor she doesn't take lightly. She revealed she first met with Rose while attending a basketball tournament in 7th grade and called Wembanyama one of her favorite NBA players, recalling that the Spurs star once gifted her a game-worn signed jersey that remains one of her favorite collectibles. Damn, they gave Sophie Cunningham a 78 in 2K? I want to see what that three-point percentage rating's looking like. I want to see what
Time the final buzzer mercifully sounded to end the suffering, the scoreboard looked like a complete glitch in the system. 123 to 88. Read that again. 123 to 88. It was an absolute undisputed bloodbath on national television. Clark didn't just beat the Sun, she dismantled their dignity, dropping a spectacular, history-making 27 points and 11 assists. It was a completely flawless double-double delivered entirely out of spite, loyalty, and sheer dominance. It was a brutal message wrapped up in a spectacular basketball clinic. The message was broadcast loud and clear to every single front office in the league. You want to play unnecessarily physical with my teammates? You want to try and injure the people I go to battle with every single night? I will put 120 points on your head. I will break WNBA records in the process. And I will make you a permanent trending highlight reel of absolute embarrassment. Clark didn't just protect Cunningham tonight. She elevated the entire Indiana roster, proving to the basketball world that this team is a locked-in, unbreakable brotherhood that will go to absolute war for each other. This is exactly why 2K Sports chose her to be the global face of their franchise. It is not just about the unbelievable statistics or the deep three-pointers. It is about the elite mentality. It is about a leader who refuses to let her team be disrespected on her watch.
Technical foul because we got bums on the Connecticut Sun. Diamond Miller, you played a good game. You talking trash. You're down 30. You fouling Caitlin Clark after the whistle. When we walk into our benches for timeouts, you're still grabbing and fouling. All this stuff. You got Sanaya Rivers trash talking. You down 30. Look at the scoreboard. Caitlin Clark told her, look at the scoreboard, bum. Caitlin Clark gets a 7 technical. Check this out.
And the jawing continuing.
He told her, look at the scoreboard. You doing all that trash talking. Look at the scoreboard. Sanaya Rivers was the one starting all of that. Caitlin Clark gets a bogus 7 technical foul. Trash talking, and you down by 30. You down by 30, Sanaya Rivers. You look like a straight clown. Straight clown. You down by 30. You getting belt to ass, but you talking trash. That's why you're not good. That's why the Connecticut Sun stink. Like, it is what it is, man. Let's get into the stats for the Indiana Fever because they played a hell of a game. The big three was on point, man. Aaliyah Boston, 22 points, 10 of 14. With her 22 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds in just 20 minutes. Kelsey Mitchell, 9 of 16, 3 of 6 from 3. She had 23 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Caitlin the GOAT Clark, 27 points and 11 assists in just 27 minutes. Now, I'm telling you right now, if Caitlin Clark would have played in this fourth quarter, she would have
finally settled. Caitlin Clark walked out of that arena holding the global 2K27 crown in one hand and the completely crushed, deflated soul of the Connecticut Sun in the other. The rest of the league is now officially on notice. The road to the championship goes through Indiana, and if you plan on taking cheap shots along the way, you better be prepared for the absolute wrath that follows. This was a defining moment in sports history, blending massive industry news with raw, unfiltered on-court drama. The Connecticut Sun gambled with the Fever's enforcer and paid the ultimate price, resulting in one of the most explosive double-doubles ever recorded. Thanks for tuning into this complete breakdown. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the action, and stay tuned for the next deep dive into the most insane stories in sports.